Palmer, if he would lead us in a pledge of allegiance. So if you so desire, please pray with me. Heavenly Father, we come before you humbly this morning, asking for your presence, your guidance, and your direction in all that we do here today. May it be within your will and the best interests of the citizens of Person County as we make our decisions. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Those that wish to stand do the pledge. If you have headgear, please remove. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First on our agenda is discussion, adjustment, and approval of the agenda as presented with one change, and that is to remove item number 2 from the agenda today due to illness, the presenter. Any other adjustments or discussion? Hear none, do we have a motion to approve as stated and corrected?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carried. At this time in our meeting, we do have 10 minutes set aside for public comment. I don't know, do we
Yes,
have
sir, we
any?
do have one person to sign up, Mr. Frank Stoltzman of Rosewood Drive, Roxborough. Give him the floor, please.
Okay, sir, you do have the full 10 minutes if you desire.
I hope I don't take that. Good morning.
Morning.
I wanted to come before you as a local business owner concerned about a couple of things in the county. First off, I'm a builder, residential builder, and I wanted to come before you and ask where you stand on the intergov computer system. We're the only county in the area that does not have online submission for permits. And it's something that's been worked on for years now. And we'd like to get that pushed forward as quickly as we can, mainly because it prevents me from having to come down into town every time I need to get a permit. So I'd really appreciate it if we make some sort of movement on that in the near future. Second thing I wanted to bring up is something that I'm very concerned about. I've looked into our future as a business in the county for 2023 and into 2024. And we're already seeing a decline in the number of residential homes being built or planned. For that reason, I wanted to come before you and ask what kind of things are we doing to bring new business to the county. You know, there's been talk about the mega park, and I'm concerned that nothing's happened with the mega park. I don't know what is in the chain for the Economic Development Committee, but I think that it's something that needs to be addressed now because we're already starting to see a decline, and we don't want to have a repeat of 2008. So my reason for being here is really just to bring up those two things. Hopefully, you can make some notes and put some thought and discussion to it, and let us know what your findings are. That's it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda is we need a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carried. Next item would be Telamon TRC notice of intent to reapply for Community Services Block Grant Program fiscal year. This is Ms. Carter.
I'm Jody
Jody Springer. I am just going to give you an overview of what we do at Telamon. We currently are assisting individuals 18 and older under 125% of the poverty guideline with going back to school for short-term certifications. We assist with tuition and books and testing fees. We also assist with emergency assistance when we have funding available. We also do daycare when we also have funding available as well. We pay for uniforms, like if individuals need work boots or certain specialized parts of their uniform that they need, we also have funding available for that.
So I'm Victoria Carter, Program Manager, and for next year, our funding is $304,725. And we no longer have the CARES funds that you may remember that we had that ended in October. So just like Jody was saying, the emergency assistance that we do have is a small pot. So if you're going to school, we mostly try to concentrate on going to school. And we sent an overview to Ms. Brenda, and I think she sent it to you guys. So did you have any questions about our overview?
Any commissioner comments or questions? Hearing none. Yes, we do. I don't see any hands up. Everybody to my right is okay. We're just being requested to approve application for the grant.
Well, we just have to present it. You don't have to approve it.
Oh, okay, that's good. So, no grant, okay.
That's part of the application process, is presenting it to you.
Okay,
guys.
well, you have our approval then.
Thank
Look
you.
forward. Thanks for all you do.
Thank you.
No, just your best.
Ms. Brent?
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Next on the agenda is Animal Services Ordinance Amendment. Ms. Kelly Oakley,
Good morning.
good morning.
On behalf of the Person County Animal Services and the Animal Advisory Committee, we are proposing to discontinue a spay-neuter voucher that we have had implemented about 10 to 12 years. This program really doesn't work anymore, what it's intended to do. It was originally used for a $100 deposit to pay for the full spay-neuter of any animal adopted from the shelter. Both of the local vets here in Person County recently requested that that not be the case anymore due to increase in cost of medications and spay, and due to shortage of staff. They just can't do it for the $100 anymore. So the $100 is only going toward the spay-neuter. It's not actually covering the whole cost. So this is not really working anymore. So we're just requesting that this be removed.
So the previously paid for service will now be paid for by
So-
the,
So previously, the $100 actually paid for the full spay-neuter. So they would pay us, they would take it to either Roxborough or Woodsdale or the two other vets on the program. They no longer do that. Now the $100 just goes toward the spay. So either way, they're having to pay $500-600 for the whole spay. It's not really benefiting them. It's really just causing more paperwork coming back to the office because they're just paying the $100 up front. Still doesn't guarantee that they're going to go to one of those vet offices. It's just a lot of turnaround with getting, the check request sent back out to the hospitals and doing everything in office. It's not really saving the adopter any money. We will still would like to give them options of our local vets as we support them like we always will, but this program just really doesn't work like it was originally intended to.
So if someone was going to adopt a pet, adopt a dog, cat, whatever, do they have to have this done before they get the pet, or no? And then
No, we
how do
currently-
you follow, do we follow up with that to see if they've done
We
that?
currently don't have a vet on staff, so we're not able to do this service for them. The adoption fee is still $50. They'll still be required to get the spay-neuter done. It'll be within the time limit that we give them. It'll still be in the original contract, depending on the age of the pet. They may have anywhere from a month the 3 months. But veterinarians are so behind it now, we're having to extend the vouchers out 3 months, and it's still not covering it. So we're still extending the vouchers even further. But yes, we do follow up after their deadline is complete.
Okay.
Okay, any other comments, commissioners? Yes, sir.
I'm a little concerned. I understand where we're at here, but is this going to affect the adoption rate that we currently have, you think?
Currently, it's $150. $50 is the adoption rate. $100 is their deposit for their spay-neuter. So if the spay-neuter deposit was gone, it'd only be $50 to adopt.
Okay.
Still all the same vaccines, microchip, everything that they currently get. They'll just no longer get the voucher to use at a local vet.
Okay, gotcha, understand now, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other commissioner comments or questions? Hearing none, do we have a motion?
Motion.
Motion to approve the request. Any further comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, none, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is report on the NC Utilities Commission carbon plan order. Mr. Patrick Buffkin. Sorry, we're back up. Go ahead. We can, is that okay? Yeah, all right.
Thank you.
Put you up quicker. I'm
Good
sorry.
morning, Mr. Chairman,
My
members
error.
of the commission. I'm Patrick Buffkin. Pleasure to be with you this morning. Glad to be here to update the board on the actions of the North Carolina Utilities Commission related to Duke Energy's carbon plan. So a brief word of background. This really started with legislation passed by the General Assembly in 2021. House Bill 951, called Energy Solutions for North Carolina, required the North Carolina Utilities Commission to develop a plan for reducing carbon emissions from Duke Energy's power plants to a 70% reduction from 2005 levels in 2030 and zero carbon dioxide emissions in 2050. The Utilities Commission opened its proceeding and Duke filed its carbon plan on May 16th. The Utilities Commission received comments, held public hearings, and an expert witness hearing. Person County was represented and participated in each phase of the Utilities Commission proceeding. And the Utilities Commission issued its final order on December 30th, the day before New Year's Eve. And of course, Person County's interest was all about these two large generating stations owned by Duke Energy Progress, the Mayo plant and the Roxboro plant, key generation assets for the utility and important parts of the economy here in Person County. And under Duke's proposed carbon plan, Mayo, the single unit at Mayo was scheduled for closure in 2029. The Roxboro plant has 4 units, and depending on which portfolio you look at, those 4 units were proposed for closure in 2029, 2032, or 2034. Of course, immediately this board recognized the potential impacts to Person County, and we have been working together for 6 or 8 months now to protect the county's interests in recognizing that these generating plants are significant investments, tax value, employment, and ancillary economic development features of the local economy here, and that Mayo and Roxboro are key generation assets for Duke Energy, providing reliable and economical power for its customers. And we had some very weighty questions that mean a lot to the future of this community. What does the closure of these plants mean for Person County? And this board also was concerned about Duke Energy and its ability to provide a reliable power, recognizing that these are key generation assets for Duke. So we raised these questions, brought these issues to the attention of the Utilities Commission, and made 3 requests of the Utilities Commission to extend the retirement dates for Roxboro and Mayo, to require replacement generation plants in Person County at those sites to take advantage of the available land, the transmission infrastructure, and the trained workforce, and to provide some community support to assist Person County through this transition. The Utilities Commission Carbon Plan Order provided almost 40 directives to Duke Energy, including various approvals of near-term actions that Duke is to take to meet these carbon reduction goals, but the Commission did not grant Person County's requests. Roxborough and Mayo, under the Commission's order, are scheduled for retirement before or around that 2030 date that you saw earlier, as Duke had proposed. There was no direction to site replacement generation sites at the site of retiring coal plants, but the Utilities Commission directed Duke to assess those sites, provide that assessment to the Utilities Commission in the future, and the Commission would make a decision at that time about the approval of future plants depending on the available infrastructure, including access to natural gas. The Utilities Commission did not require any community support, but did direct Duke to continue stakeholder engagement, which we can confidently assume will include Person County, and so conversations will be ongoing. Survey of reaction from various parties to the carbon plan. Duke Energy described the order as a constructive outcome. Environmental advocates were pretty disappointed and said that this order risked missing the carbon reduction goals. Renewable energy advocates, particularly solar companies, have said that without more solar, the carbon reduction goals can't be met. Big industrial customers are concerned, as they always are, with costs and reliability. Governor Cooper described the Commission's order as a balanced approach to increase renewables and make sure there is a more reliable grid. There's some important people that we haven't heard from yet, and most of these folks have not indicated what their next move will be, and we'll talk a little bit about what those options might be. We have not heard from Attorney General Stein yet, and we don't know what these folks will do in the way of appealing or potentially regrouping for the next round of review. The way the Utilities Commission and the General Assembly have set up this process is every 2 years, Duke will be in with an updated carbon plan that the Utilities Commission will review and consider. And so that process, that next round will start in September of this year, and the Commission has already forecasted hearings to begin first quarter, second quarter of 2024. So what happens next? Parties to the proceeding, including Person County, have a right to appeal or seek reconsideration at the Utilities Commission, and it does seem, as you saw, that some of them are considering it. The time for appeal runs out on January 30th, but that's subject to a 30-day extension, and it requires the identification of some error of law. Appeal from the Utilities Commission, in this case, will go to the North Carolina Court of Appeals. The Utilities Commission also has a procedure for asking for reconsideration. That can be asked for any time. It requires some new evidence, some changed circumstances that the Utilities Commission could justify reconsidering and maybe reaching a different result. Of course, a lot of these folks are active in state politics and legislative matters, and they could go to the General Assembly to seek legislative action. And as I said, there's an update to the carbon plan due in September of this year, ongoing review every 2 years. And with the various approvals that Duke Energy received from the Utilities Commission, Duke Energy will start taking action to implement the carbon plan. And that implementation is at a very early stage now. Lots of questions about what this means for Duke Energy, the state's economy, and the affordability of electricity in our state. Big questions about how Duke retires coal plants and maintains adequacy and reliability and affordability, while also modernizing the grid, investing in transmission infrastructure, integrating renewable power. Where will the replacement generation go? When a utility is retiring major assets like this, they are going to need some big generation to put in its place. So where is that going to go? Is it going to be in Person County? Will Duke Energy take advantage of the land, the major transmission assets the skilled workforce that is here working in the plants already, the other service providers that are here in the community that support the plant. And again, Duke is required to assess sites of existing generation for replacement. That's an order from the Utilities Commission, so the Utilities Commission is expecting Duke to share that assessment when they come in and ask for approval to build a new plant. Also questions about what kind of generation assets will replace Mayo and Roxborough. What will their fuel source be? What will be the size of them and the tax base, and how many people that will they employ? The commission, part of the near-term actions that the Utilities Commission approved is authorizing Duke to pursue 1,200 megawatts of gas plants, what we call combustion turbine, and 800 megawatts of smaller plants, 1,200 megawatts of large gas plants, those are combined cycle plants, and 800 megawatts of the smaller plants, those are combustion turbines. And new technologies are a big part of what the Utilities Commission has approved for Duke to pursue. Things like small modular nuclear, battery storage, and Duke will be buying and developing a lot of solar energy with battery storage, and also pursuing onshore and offshore wind. So Duke has a big job in front of it, and lots of questions going forward about exactly how this gets implemented. And I've heard from the leadership of this board that we have to stay focused on mitigating the impacts from closing Mayo and Roxborough, and we are looking in great detail at what that means for the community. Is it job retraining? Is it employee retention, community development and support? And how do we bring all this together as Duke is considering its replacement generation options? And so with the conclusion of the first round of the carbon plan, the challenges facing this community are really coming into focus. And again, we've heard from your leadership, the leadership of this board, clearly that the priorities here are protecting Person County's future prosperity, jobs, tax base, and economic development. Maintaining Person County's role in keeping the lights on for North Carolina. Mayo and Roxborough serve people all over this state, and they are at a critical point in the grid. Duke Energy simply cannot do what Duke Energy has to do without major generation assets near where Mayo and Roxborough are today. This board has also told us that preserving the rural character of Person County is a priority. Keeping electricity affordable for community members, for families and businesses, and keeping that electric service reliable is important, and something that this community takes pride in, something this community has been doing for many decades. So we will also be together to talk in more detail about your legal options during a closed session item later today. We will also be asking for your guidance and direction on your options going forward. But with that, Mr. Chairman, if there's any questions, details you'd like to take up in this public forum, I'll be glad to respond to any questions at this time.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
We talked about could possibly be appeals. If appeals are filed, and I probably already know the answer to this, but if appeals are filed, is it possible that it could extend the 2030 deadline, or is that it probably will not matter?
The extension of the deadline was a major issue in the carbon plan. Duke proposed 4 portfolios. 2 or 3 of them would extend that deadline for various reasons, mostly around developing technologies, specifically battery storage, small modular nuclear. That is an option that the General Assembly has given to the Utilities Commission, that if you recognize there's a big opportunity for some emerging technology, it's not going to be ready yet. You can extend that carbon reduction deadline beyond 2030. The Utilities Commission declined to do that. The Commission carbon plan order was very high level. It emphasized flexibility, keeping options open for the future. So the Utilities Commission decisions on that could be appealed. And the question then for the Court of Appeals would be, was there sufficient evidence to support the Utilities Commission decision? Does it comply with the policy and intent of the General Assembly? So that there very well could be one of the issues that one of the parties takes up. Again, there's this timing consideration with Duke coming back in with an updated plan later this year, just in 8 months or so. We just don't know today what people will do, what that deadline whether that deadline stays fixed at 2030, whether the commission finds some reason to extend it. But that very well could be an issue that's taken up on appeal, and it will certainly be discussed in these biennial review process going forward.
And Commissioners, if I may follow up on that. Person County intervened in the Utilities Commission proceeding. Obviously, you all thought, the board directed us to go do that because you thought it was important for Person County to have a seat at that table in that discussion. And one implication of that is if another party appeals to the Court of Appeals, then Person County continues to have standing to participate, and I would recommend to you all that we do go participate on an appeal, in an appeal if that happens. I could about guarantee you that the parties who are most likely to appeal from the order, probably one or more of the environmental groups, would not be asking the Court of Appeals as one of their stated issues to order a later closure date for the coal-fired generating plants. But maybe that could be possibly a source of discussion in the Court of Appeals appeal if there is one. I think we need to assume, as I know Duke Energy is going to assume, that those plants are likely to close sometime around those dates that are stated in the Utilities Commission order. I think we would have to buy a lot of rose-colored glasses to be able to assume otherwise. So I think one of the things we would like, we the lawyers, our outside counsel, and me, your county attorney, would like from you all in the closed session later some direction on how you would like us to proceed, and talk some about legislative possibilities too. We thought it was important for our outside counsel to make this public presentation to let our citizens know what we are doing and how and why in Person County's interest and what the issues are. And certainly any more questions you all have are appropriate here, but more detailed discussion can certainly be had in that closed session. Let me just say this. It has been clear to all of us, I think it's fair to say from the start, that we have very significant, Person County, has very significant commonalities of interest with Duke Energy, a major corporate citizen for a long time of Person County, a major employer, major taxpayer. We asked for a discussion with the Duke Energy leadership, which we had last month. Your chairman and vice chair and county manager and I and others participated in that. We always envisioned that as a cordial, productive, and it was, not adversarial in any way, discussion. One of the things we asked for, remember that was before the Utilities Commission order, one of the things we asked for was a follow-up discussion after we all had an opportunity to analyze the Utilities Commission order and think about the implications, and their new North Carolina president immediately agreed to that. So we look forward to that follow-up discussion. I'm looking toward the back of the room because Ms. Evans is with us this morning, Duke Energy's local representative. We, on the next item on the agenda about the legislative discussion, and I'll have some more comments about some other things too.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
I'm sure you probably can't answer most of what I'm going to ask. I've got lots of questions, but I'm going to narrow it down to just a couple of questions. With the recent rolling blackouts, I'm certain that Duke is very well aware that this was very alarming to all of North Carolina citizens. But yet and still they're pushing forward to close our power plants. And that is beyond the scope of my realm of understanding. They need to have an absolute plan in action before, this is my opinion now, nobody else's. This is Charlie Palmer's opinion. They need to have sites already up and running before they start closing these plants. Number one, I don't want to go without lights. I don't want to go without heat. And I got grocery stores I shop for food. I got gas I got to have, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I know you can't answer that, but I'm addressing you in hopes that they will hear the concerns that I have. And I'm sure that everybody sitting in this room has the exact same concern. Okay. That wasn't a question, that was a statement. Okay, eventually, when plants are decommissioned, when will they start destruction of these already built structures ready to run?
That's a good question, and I'm not sure I can answer that. What I can tell you is closing a power plant is a long process. You've got things that need to be cleaned up, things that need to be capped over so they don't leach out. Lots of complex issues. So the dates that you've seen are dates the Utilities Commission established. Those years are, those retirement years are effective January 1 of those years under the Commission's order. So, just a bit of speculation. I would guess closing a power plant has about a 3, maybe 5-year runway. And in that time, to your earlier point, Duke has to figure out what's going to take the place of it to keep the lights on. The company is subject to an enormous amount of regulation from the federal government and the state government, particularly on the federal side. National reliability standards, and they came to the Utilities Commission shortly after the first, just a couple of weeks ago to explain exactly what happened on Christmas Eve. And so I can get that to you if that's helpful to you. It was a very in-depth discussion, almost 2.5, 3 hours of questions from the Utilities Commission, and they had their top-ranking folks in the state there to answer those questions. But glad to follow up with you in more detail about what those timelines mean and maybe more technically accurate on what it means to close a power plant.
Okay, I would also request that each board member here, as well as the county manager, gets a copy of this.
Yes, sir, I'll make it happen.
Remember the term stranded cost. If and when those plants were to be closed, they become stranded cost, along with the very extensive Duke Energy transmission facilities in Person County, very valuable, certainly good for many years of continued use. For one thing, the Utilities Commission order certainly contemplates the possibility of converting those existing generating stations to natural gas fired. I think the engineering and technology considerations would allow that, given an adequate supply of natural gas. So we don't know what the future holds. The Utilities Commission will continue to discuss this with Duke Energy and the parties, and the discussion will continue in the legislature. There are all kinds of possibilities for the future.
Excuse me. You mentioned our involvements going back maybe 6 months ago or thereabouts, but I'd like to reassure the public and our citizens that our involvement goes much further back than that. Before decision to bring you on board, we go back to discussions and even a resolution related to House Bill 951 that goes back, that was what, 2019? Can't remember my dates. But this board and those associated with us have been involved for a long time. There's a target out there, not set by us. In a sense, it's an ever-changing target because we don't know. Duke Energy doesn't know. The Utilities Commission doesn't really know. They have projected some dates, but still nothing is totally decided now. But those are dates and times and futuristic items there that are beyond our control. But to be involved, we are. We go back about a year ago, again, prior to you, we had numerous meetings and discussions with various groups in the county, including Duke representatives, and to try to get ourselves in the right position to do our very best and the most we could do for Person County regarding this issue. And eventually, we were guided to you. And that's because of your expertise and you and your firm and your leadership there, I think, has led us in the right direction. But the public needs to understand that this board is doing all it can. Now, I go along with Commissioner Palmer's comment here. This process does not make sense to me, what is being proposed. But we do have a law in House Bill 951. We do have a Utilities Commission that they are making decisions for us. So again, we want to do the very best, the most we can to protect the generating plants here in Person County and continue our relationship with Duke Energy, which is 6 decades long now. It's been a huge part of Person County's economy, and for that, we are very appreciative. And to come forward with some sort of sensible plan going forward is what I think we need and what we hope for. And becoming an intervener, we did early on, and we are at the table and continue to be. And some of our wishes and our choices and almost demands, I would say, have been rejected. And so we'll sort of change pace and go forward with that. But we appreciate what you're doing, and we'll continue to fight for what's right and what's best for Person County.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other commissioner comments, concerns, questions? Okay, hearing
Thank you.
none. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now we'll back up a little bit due to my excitement to hear that presentation, I guess. It was, yeah, this, we do need to back up here for consideration to set the location for the February 21st board meeting for its annual retreat. Manager Kathy.
This meeting will be our annual budget retreat. We have reserved both the Kirby upstairs, where you had the retreat last year, and the auditorium for that morning meeting, which is scheduled to begin at 9 a.m. And we would just like to ask the board today for you to determine where you would like to meet, which of those locations is your preferred location for that upcoming retreat. Currently, we have a half-day agenda planned that could potentially expand depending upon whether we have other items to add, but right now we're shooting for a half-day format. And it is February 21st.
Any recommendations there from the two sites or maybe another site?
Auditorium, Commissioner,
You-
Chairman Powell.
You do or not?
I do not.
Okay.
That's a lot of space.
The 9 a.m. meetings are a general meeting that we have as county commissioners, and then we go into our retreat.
And we will try to construct the agenda in a retreat format and not consider what we would normally do as regular business that day. And I am sorry, I misspoke. Our next regularly scheduled board meeting is February the 6th, and that is an evening meeting where we will conduct the regular business of the board. We hope to reserve the 21st to focus on the budgeting process and some strategizing around board priorities and goals for the upcoming fiscal year. That is anticipated to be the format for that particular meeting.
Okay, when you said that's why I was questioning whether we were going to have a regular meeting and then go into the budget.
Regular meeting, February 6th,
Okay.
evening in the auditorium, and the decision today is for the location of the retreat on February 21st.
Thank you.
Okay, what's the desire of the board? Someone speak up, tell us where you want to speak, meet.
Upstairs.
Is that- Yeah, okay, we have is that a motion, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we have a motion for the Kirby location. Discussion? Okay, all in favor of the retreat being at the Kirby, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, motion carried. Okay, next item is retaining legislative lobbying firm to represent Person County. Attorney Hankins.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, this is an action item if the board sees fit. One of the other things the board previously instructed the staff to do, because of the great importance of this range of issues surrounding the Utilities Commission carbon plan, as you've just heard Mr. Bufkin outline again, was to issue an RFP and discuss with responding firms, Person County's retaining a legislative lobbying firm to represent the county in the forthcoming legislative session. One of the things I can tell you from having been a registered lobbyist for many years around that legislative building in my previous life is this. Once the General Assembly engages in a lengthy, complicated, and controversial legislative issue like House Bill 951 became, they are hesitant to reopen that legislation in the next legislative session. But having said that, it is clear to us that one way or the other, these issues will pop up again and be discussed around the legislative building, probably not as a complete reconsideration or reopening of House Bill 951. It certainly is in, as the board has discussed, the interest of Person County to ask the legislature to consider transition financial assistance to Person County, some incentives to Duke Energy to replace generation assets in Person County and continue to make use of those extensive transmission facilities that I mentioned, and other issues, some of which Mr. Bufkin just mentioned. So, having said all that, we received 11 proposals in response to our RFP. County manager and Mr. Bufkin and I thoroughly analyzed those, and we invited a smaller number of those firms to interview with us last week after I sent off the agenda abstract that is in your package. We got it down to 2 and had a difficult time deciding between 2 of those firms, but eventually selected for recommendation to the Board of Commissioners a firm called EQV Strategic, and one of their principals is with us this morning, Chris Wall, who is sitting beside Mr. Bufkin. And certainly if you wish, you can hear a few words from Mr. Wall. I know he is used to speaking with little notice. And so we recommend the firm to you. I sent to you all by email the firm's proposed agreement, and it outlines what they would do. You know, anytime there is discussion of significant issues around the General Assembly that affects your interest, you want a seat at the table every time those issues are discussed. And you want notice. You want to know when those issues are likely to be discussed or frankly can be prompted. A discussion can be prompted. So that's the reason to why it's in the interest of Person County, as the board determined earlier, to go retain a legislative lobbying firm to pay attention, to look out for Person County, both threats and opportunities, and certainly to work productively, cordially with representatives of Duke Energy, who are always all around that building. So, Mr. Chairman, that's what we are about. The staff recommends to you approval of the agreement to retain EQV Strategies, and if you'd like to hear from Mr. Wall, he is here.
I certainly would, for one. If you don't mind, sir. Put you on camera rather than one of us.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I am very honored to be here. Very appreciative of the process that Ellis and Patrick and Catherine went through. It is a privilege to potentially serve Person County. We have gotten up to speed on the challenges facing the county over the last couple of weeks due to the RFP process, understand the needs going forward, and just appreciative to be a part of the team to help address those challenges. Happy to answer any questions or provide any sort of information about our firm or the people that will be working for you.
We certainly appreciate it. Again, to go along with some of the comments of our attorney, you see the need for representation on a spur, well, a moment there that we need to, should be, and pretty much have to be there. As it goes around the legislature, I think we have to be there because votes will take place at odd times. Representatives are fearful of going to the restroom for a vote that might take place while they aren't in the room. So we can't be there, and so that's why we would rely on you people to be there to represent us, and it's extremely important and very critical. And we appreciate the expertise in looking down through the list of prospects there and come up with you, and look forward to good things happening.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate your effort. Any questions from commissioners? Anyone? All right.
Chairman, I would just add that we also sent to you, for your information, the proposal that we received from EQV. I can tell you this is a firm that is very active. There are several members of the firm who have significant and relevant experience. And this is a firm that, as I said in the memo, is able to represent Person County effectively on potential opportunities and threats, while, this is very important, acting ethically and in compliance with ethical principles and applicable laws without conflicts. We've discussed all of that, and so we have a high level of confidence in recommending this firm.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we authorize engagement of the recommended legislative lobbying firm.
We have a motion on the floor. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, motion carried. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, moving right along pretty quickly this morning. As for a chairman's report, I only have a couple of things. We were unable to have the presentation by Baya Health this morning due to an illness there of District 4 Representative Elliott Clark, and we'll set up a new date for him. I did attend the Region 4 meeting last week in Burlington. Also last week had the pleasure of attending a training session along with Commissioner Jason Thomas, as well as Manager Kathy, and learn all about what's going on in the world of expertise when it comes to new commissioners, and by the guidance of Manager Kathy and the training he received there, I think he's off to a very good start in understanding all rules, regulations, and most of all, what you can't do as a commissioner. So we look forward to working with him there as he continues that learning curve. I did too have the honor of attending an MLK breakfast yesterday morning. Had a good service there and good presentation. Was a good event for our people in Person County. Manager Kathy?
So you, as well as the public, will be glad to hear that we got word from the state that we should be moving forward shortly with the great grant project that has been proposed to expand broadband in Person County. The state plans to send out their agreement templates to the providers and the counties this week. So hopefully we will be prepared to sign off on those potentially at the next board meeting, so we can move forward with our Zytel, who's the selected provider, being able to secure the funding through the state to begin their project in Person County. We are, in response to the request at the last meeting, I am working with staff in our Development Services Department to evaluate our permitting process, identify the progress that has been made since the last update we provided to you, as well as what improvements can continue to be made to those processes. Our staff certainly aim to provide a high level of customer service with effective and efficient processes in place, so we will have an update as requested in the next month or so on those processes for you, as well as Intergov will be a part of that. And then you may have heard over the weekend about the lift installation at the Kirby and some potential problems with that. As you know, you did approve ARP funding to install a cargo lift at the Kirby to make the stage accessible. And I did find out at the end of the week that there may be some issues associated with that staff, as well as Dale from our inspections department, are evaluating and determining whether that installation was completed properly, and determine if there are any restrictions that are now present due to the installation of that lift, and how we can resolve those. But our Parks and Recreation Director John Hill and Inspections Director Dale Tillman are working through that with the contractor to try to resolve any problems that may be present as a result of that project.
Thank you very much. Vice Chair Sims?
Thank you, Chairman Powell. One of the things I want to mention, and again, Mr. Stoltzman got up and asked some questions. And I know you covered that you guys are evaluating the permit process and what have you. I would hope that by our next meeting that we could have some type of report on where we are with that process, and what the time frame is for getting permit process all the way through, and where we're either ahead or behind, or what we can do there. And then you probably mentioned again, as he mentioned, is our computer system and our online registration for permitting. And again, I think that's very important. We need to know where we're at with that. And I would like, hopefully, we can have a report on that our next county commissioner meeting. He did mention about decline in residential building, concern with the mega park, and what's the EDC doing, that sort of thing. I can just tell you on the reports that I have from the EDC that they are working diligently with the mega park and trying to get someone there, get a corporation company there. And so I know they're working on it, and it takes time. And I know we've been talking about this for years, but it just takes time for that to happen. But it is important, not only for the mega park, but it's important in other areas of this county that we look at where we can potentially have companies move in, which in turn, we know if we have companies here, we have new employees coming in, then they're going to need housing. So it is being worked on. I understand the concern of the builders, and we'll keep working on it moving forward. That's all.
Say something here related to your request. In my email to Manager Kathy, I did put a 60-day request in there, to which she responded probably sooner, which is good. So it goes along with what you're requesting. Commissioner Palmer? Commissioner Thomas?
I would just like to thank Kathy and Chairman Powell for going with me to the School of Government to their training Thursday and Friday. It was very beneficial, and I learned a lot, and we're going to continue to learn and look forward to putting what we learned to work.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Perrier?
Commissioner Sims brought up some points that I was going to mention. I would, as we heard a citizen speak today about the streamlining process, I saw that you're preparing some type of presentation upcoming, but also in addition to the computer system that the citizen was referring to, I've heard about this computer system for quite some time, and I would just like a presentation to see when that would be implemented.
All right. Now we need to enter into closed session number 1. We need a motion to go into closed session per General Statute 143, 318, 11A3, and those individuals permitted to attend are County Manager Kathy, Clerk to the Board Ms. Reeves, Attorney Ellis Hankins, Patrick Buffkin, and lobbyist Chris Wall. Have a motion to go into closed session.
Motion to go into closed session.
Comments or questions? All in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, none, motion carried.